Got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff in my shed which I need homes for. So that part of the hedge has got to go. Oh, look at that view. So we're going to put a shipping container there. This one's got a few of the boards in the floor that are stuffed and it's all full of crud. The other one has similar issues. The floor isn't busted, it's got bits of concrete in it. Well, it's out. Floor's in. And I've got a whole box of screws. And I've got knee pads. And I've got a screw gun. So I'll get into that and then we can work on something else. Yeah, g'day guys, welcome to the channel. This is part 3 of the shed expansion storage solution thing video. And we've got a bunch of stuff going on. We've got legs for the 20 footer to do. We've got a bit of roofing to do, a bit of guttering. Got a big ass roller door I've got to install. Personal door, like a little man door to go through. I've got to make it and then install it and then make it all lockable. As well as that, I'm doing some racking on the inside of the containers and a bunch of lighting, a bit of creative lighting. No, I'm not cutting holes. Anyway, you'll have to watch that later. Anyway, stick around. It's going to be a good video. Get a cup of tea and a snack, and I'll see you later in the video. Here we go. There we go. All the shelves are covered. Hopefully you can see. I've got just all this form ply and I've just screwed it along the front. I've even notched around so it matches up to that. Very tricky, that one as well. So they're all just screwed along the front. I didn't bother doing the back, there's no need for it. They go all the way up there. This one I kind of left a bit of an overhang because, you know, I didn't feel like cutting it off. Where these ones I probably would have hit them with my shoulder or my leg or something. So this one's a standard width pallet racking frame, like 840 or something mil wide. And these ones were the same width, but I've narrowed them down, like just altered all these crossbars and the bases, and so they're the same material, the same everything, except I've made them narrower. They're down to 600 wide. So made it a whole lot easier. Bit of an echo, isn't it? Oh, the end. Oh yeah, that view again. Anyway, so I got lots of racking and shelving. It's just a bit dark in here. So I've just got this work light for the minute and this battery light. I think I need some lighting, so I best get into that before I start loading up these shelves. For those who are going to ask, how come I made this one so high? Well, actually I made it, it's just over 900, I think it's about 930 high, which is the same as a kitchen countertop bench height. And the purpose of that is, when you're bringing something in the door, big box of Starfort, and you just plonk it on the bench here and you go, okay, now where am I going to put it? Hopefully it doesn't just end up there, and I'll be able to, okay, I can put it on this shelf, or I can put it on that one, or underneath the bench, or there's lots of different options. And there's heaps of height up there. I made them all the way, like they've got boards on the top as well. So there's no shortage of space now, hopefully. And also, when you're coming in, you're looking for something, oh yeah, it's in that such a box, and I'll probably label them or just put an echo pen on them or something. So I'll grab that box, put it onto this one, because it's nice and easy to, the right height to open the box up and stuff like that. So that's the purpose of this one. And a couple of skinny ones down the bottom. I've got these baskets. I don't quite know what to do with them. Maybe you guys could help me. I could either hang them like that for small things, and then there's room underneath, or put them up in here and hang them sort of like this. But I reckon I'd probably hit my head on it. So I don't know whether I'll screw it to the wall or like that, or I'll let it grow on me and see what happens. I've got one up here and one there. They're just the right width. It was 1200, and I thought, oh, I could stick it on the end of this one. But then that's 800 and it'd be sticking out in the middle of the, yeah, so it didn't work. So I just cut it down in half so I can actually use them for something. So I just don't quite know whether I'm going to put them up there, but I reckon I'll bump my head in it. Or maybe up the top. Yeah, that might work, up there somewhere. Yeah. Because the higher the shelf, the lighter you want the boxes or things or items to be, don't you? Because you want all the heavy stuff lower to the ground, or sort of, you know, waist height. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, maybe I'll put them up there. Yeah, one at each end, just for little things. Let's get into doing some lighting, hey? I'll run some wires and I'm planning to put a solar panel on, but it's pouring with rain outside. Like just have a 12-volt battery and a couple of little switches, and I can run all the wires, I suppose, and hang the lights. Just can't sort of get a break from this weather. It's been raining for like 2 weeks. Every day it's been raining. It's been very frustrating. Anyway, enough ramblings. Let's get into doing some lighting. Couple of screws. Got ourselves a shelf. That ain't going nowhere. So she's a good little bracket. Anyway, back to lighting. I've got this, as you can see, it's pretty dark in here other than the light at the other end, and it's an overcast day, so there's not a lot of light anyway. So I've got this one light here, and I've got the big, so that 500 watt light, it does produce a fair bit of heat, which is normally great in winter and a lot of the year, but we're right in the middle of summer here in Australia, so that's not a good thing. Anyway, I've got these lights. There's 4 individual little lights, and I was sort of inspired by this torch that I've made. Now, I was thinking, how am I going to power a torch and have it rechargeable and not be annoying to me or anyone else that wants to try and use it? So I bought one of these, another one of these. Like I bought a pair of them actually. It's got a 30 amp fuse. Let me go out the light a bit. So it's got a little 30 amp fuse in that holder there, and it comes with these funny little clips and a switch on the top. So I was thinking, if I put, at the moment I'm using Ryobi batteries because that's what I got, and it has a switch on the top. So I'm thinking, instead of going to all the trouble of putting a solar panel up on the roof and putting an inverter and all sorts of other crap, that I'll have to try and pay for. I've got a couple of solar panels, that's not the problem, but it's everything else, and these were really cheap, like under $20 for a pair. So I will, I'm using that battery at the minute, so I can't use that one. So you just clip a battery on, and I can set it over here somewhere and run some wires up and just zip tie them to that, and then go along, and I might sit there in loops. You can just see them. They have these little loops inside the shipping container every, I don't know, 1200, 4 foot. So what I'm thinking of doing, zip tie one of these little lights to every second one of those loops. Now I've got some wire. Ugh. Now it's only just really fine speaker wire, and it doesn't need to be heavy because look at the size wire on that. That's tiny. It's like speaker wire. Well, cheap speaker wire. Anyway, so I've got this roll, and I think it's 30 meters or maybe 100. I don't know, whatever. It was pretty cheap. So I thought, okay, I'll just use that to string along, going from one end right up here all the way down there. So it's 12 meters. Anyway, I'll run a wire all the way along there, and I'll cut it and put joiners in it. I've got these little soldering, a bit hard to see, these little crimps. Well, they're not really crimps, they're actually, you just heat them up with a heat gun and they shrink over your wires. So I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. So I might just do that to join them all, and away we go. Anyway, let's get some lighting happening. Too much talking, not enough doing. Let's get on with it. They're all hung. I've dragged the wire all the way through. Now all I'll do is connect the end ones and then come along, pull the wire a bit taut and then cut it and then join it there and then do the same until we get down to the end. So I'll do that off camera and I'll get back to you when I'm ready to hook it up. And here we go. Whoa. We have lights. We have 4 lights. It's pretty good, eh? It's really probably hard to tell until it's night time, but I mean, it does make a difference. It makes a difference in here. And 18 volts into a 12 volt light, well, it didn't blow up. Anyway, it doesn't look too daggy. The wire's just sort of hanging there. I wouldn't do it if it was high voltage. Anyway, I would say that the lighting is done. I can walk in and just flick that switch and we got lights. So job is done. I'm happy. Anyway, now I can start stacking this container with all these boxes and crud and stuff that I've got to get out of my big shed, and which was the initial purpose of getting these shipping containers, was to make my shed not a storage shed, it's more a workshop. Actually, the other bonus feature, not only has it got the switch on it, I've got a little indicator on the front of the battery and it tells me how full the battery is. How awesome is that? Like, I mean, these are only generic aftermarket Ryobi batteries. So the generic ones off eBay, they're about $25 each if you buy 4 of them at a time. So it's about $100 for 4. Like, I mean, that's heaps cheaper than buying like a 12 volt battery pack, putting it in the corner out of the way, having a solar panel, all the wiring that's associated with that, and all of this is just little 12 volt lights. So I thought it was a far better way to provide lighting. Anyway, enough rambling about lighting. Now I can sort of stack this place and get my workshop back. So I got a bit of rain coming in because we got rain at the moment through the big gap there. I was thinking about using those offcuts out of the back windows, the big chunks of steel, but they're a bit heavy, and I thought, well, I got iron right there, and here's some iron, so I'm just sick of this puddle that keeps coming in because the concrete has a slight fall inwards. I don't know why it worked that way, it just did, because this one has a fall that way and that one has a slight fall that way, so it sort of all runs out that, except for it comes in here, which is painful. So if I can sort of stop that, put a bit of a cover over the top of that, just to stop any sort of rain coming straight on there, that'll be awesome. So the thought is this bit of Z-bar material, if I just cut it down the middle and cut it into a couple of bits, and then I can just weld it on the end of these, and the last one, if I weld it on the end of those and then just put these couple of sheets of iron acrossways so it follows the same profile, and it'll just come across and just have a bit of a fall and keep a bit of rain out. So that's the thought process. Anyway, I'll cut this up and get up there with a welder and weld them on while it's not raining at the moment, but the sky looks pretty dark, and it's going to rain later, so hopefully I can get this sorted before then. Anyway, I'll get straight into it. Okay, this is what I'm working with up the top here. Here's the 2 different colour container roofs. I didn't get to paint them green as yet, as you can see. Anyway, so these bits of Z-bar, all I'm doing is just welding them pretty much on the end, and then just put a little bit of something in between there, because I've actually made it so they're all flush. I'll show you in a sec. So these 3 are pretty easy. They're just tack welded on there. And the last one, don't quite know how I'm going to do. I'll just hang out there and weld it on somehow. Maybe you have to get a ladder or something on that side. Yeah, I might do that. Anyway, so I'll get these three and they'll all be in line, and I can start screwing a sheet onto them, I suppose, and go from there. Did I mention how good the view is from up here? It's awesome. I wonder if I should put a little deck or a building or something up here. Have a little patio. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that's food for thought. There's neighbour's house. But anyway, let's get back into doing some welding. There we go. So it'll not only fall like this way, but it'll fall that way because of the same shape as the skillion roof. Not that it's in great shape, but the water goes that way. So all I can do is get the ladder and weld on that last piece, because it's past the container, I can't reach it. Anyway, I'll give it a shot, and then I can chuck a couple of sheets of iron on it. That'll be nice, just to stop that wind from blowing any rain in there and on my path, like I said before. Anyway, I'll weld that off camera and bring some sheets up. Okay, I've got some little tiny ones that'll help with the joins along here. I know it's not ideal. I would have liked to have had the sheet start and finish on each of those Z bars. It would have been nice to have the sheets go to there, but this is what I got. It's just a bit of offcuts, so I'm just going to use it, and these little screws will help join all those. So there we go. Sort of semi-sealed in a bit, and hopefully that'll keep the rain off that little piece there so it won't run inside. And I'm happy with that. So when we do put the roll door in, it won't, we shouldn't get rain in here, which has been annoying. And look at me pad down here, it's just a muck hole. I can't even put cars back in there. Anyway, enough whinging. Let's get into doing something else. Okay, so let's focus on something else, which is the other container right here. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do before we tackle the roof, because there's a leak in the roof, is put some legs under it. Now I've got some sketchy sort of footings, foundation. This is actually a pier. It was an old drum I just cut out, and it goes down like another, 600-800 mil. So it's 2-3 feet long. It's plenty strong. The only downside is the I didn't use a concrete needle, and it didn't come out to these edges, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's full height, if you understand what I mean, of concrete. Over here it's beautiful, and it tapers down and then goes into the ground. There's another pier on the other side, so I'm thinking from here it's perfect. You could put like 20 tonne on it, no trouble. But this last little end bit, I'm a bit concerned about it, and I was just planning to put a post like right under here. Now I have actually made a pair of legs for this, like 2 short posts. When I did the dumpy level used the dumpy level to work out the leg lengths for this and everything, I did the same with this one, measured it from the top pad and then subtracted it from the height of this pad. And anyway, one leg is a little bit longer than the other, and that's fine because the footing, I don't know, whatever, it's concrete, it's in there. So what I've got to do to give us the best chance of it surviving is put something at least about the halfway or up to where this block is anyway, and do 2 legs here and then 1 at the other end, because the other end's in the ground. The other one's sitting on the ground and no trouble at all. There's nothing suspended under it, as to say. So it should be just fine. Banana palms everywhere. So what I'll do is put a little bottle jack or something under here. The container's empty. There's nothing inside it. So I'll just put the jack under it, and I'll move these blocks sideways so it's just supported in the middle, and then I can make sure it's level. I might open the doors up and put the spirit level on it and make sure it's level, and then work out the actual height that I need and do some extra support. I've got a big chunk of channeling, and I'll show you in the workshop. Okay, so I've got the jack under this corner, and I've removed the other set of blocks, and this one I've got it so there's, would you believe that lifting this corner lifts this whole end up. But anyway, I guess that's because it's empty and we've got good footings at the other end. Anyways, so I can lower that back down just for the minute, and then I'll go inside, put the spirit level on, and make sure we're at the right height, if that makes sense. And then I can I'll remeasure these, make sure everything's right. I only want to do this once, so, and then I can work out the legs, the proper legs. Anyway, let's get into that. Okay, so we're inside the little 20-footer, and at the spirit level, it's hard to see in the dark here because I've got no light or anything. And you can sort of see the damage I've got to repair later. Probably from here somewhere, I'll replace that whole piece of roof. I've got a couple of sheets of steel. I think they're 2 mil or 2.5 mil. So I'll be able to do that no trouble. I'll have to put a couple of ribs in it because I won't be able to replicate the pressings and everything that's here. But anyway, so we've got a couple of holes and a bit of smell, a bit of mould going on in here. So I'll have to come in with a digger and rip up these couple of sections. So it won't be difficult, as you've seen in the previous video that I did virtually a whole 40-footer. And this is only like less than half of that end and probably the first piece on that end. So then it'll be good. But anyway, So the spirit level, it's really good. It's really hard to see. I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Oh, there you go. So there you go. She's level, and that's sitting on those blocks, those 190 high Besser blocks or concrete blocks. So she's all good. I will now measure up for those legs. Let's get into that. Okay, so I've got a couple of legs sort of to the right length, and I've a bit of a join there. I've only just tacked it with the old flux core welder. I'm about to take it all into where the big welder's sitting over in the containers. Anyway, so I got the channel, I got it all ground out, and I've made a gusset for the end, or just an end plate if that's what you want to call it. It's all sort of beveled and so forth, ready to weld in. And I'm not sure if I'll put the post right up to that edge, like weld this piece in first and then put that up to it and put a weld along there, down there, around it, and sort of so forth. And then I might put a cross in it like I did with the big legs down the bottom in the previous video. I might make the big cross out of 16mm round bar. There should be plenty for this sort of application. Like, I mean, that's only, you know, just under 600mm overall. And the last leg, it's the right height. So I didn't have to alter it at all. So I just had to shorten these ones because I had to allow for the thickness of the channel and everything, and well, for this one, and take the base off of it over there. And I just made that one up. Anyway, so I got the 3 legs, and I do need to drill some holes in here for some anchors. I'll probably just use these expanding ones. They'll be okay for this application. I normally like using true bolts, but they're sort of what I got sitting here. They're 16mm, so I might just put, I don't know, 5 or 6 in there. That should be heaps, because the container itself, we're not putting a lot of material into it, so it shouldn't be too heavy. Anyways, so I'll get in drilling some holes and we'll get back to it. One sort of sitting there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, put the other one in with the tractor. There we go. Corner should work out alright. Nice big weld there, nice big weld there. Of course, when I lower it down, just happened to be a big ass dent in the bottom of the container right where that foot's going. Great. And the one on the other side's the same sort of gap as this, so I must have measured something right. So if I put these anchors in, I've got 2 over here pretty much close to the middle, like here's the middle of the actual container, and I'm only across a couple of hundred, so those 2 in there, those 2 in there, because if you look how thick that is, it's pretty beefy, and this last one is right where the pier is, so I can go deep as, so that'll be fine. So I'll lower that down and drag over the welder, and I'll be able to connect it. Now this black paint that I've put on here, it's a black etch primer, like it's a weld through etch primer, so hopefully that'll make it a bit easier. I've ground off the container here so it'll weld easy to that, and then I'll paint the whole lot green, you know, like this green. Then I can remove the blocks, remove the jack, everything will be good. Anyway, let's drag some gear over here and get this thing sorted. Kind of looks pretty substantial there, just that looks a little bit daggy, that's all. Maybe I'll get a bit of concrete and sort of like a bit of mortar and smear it over it, and then when I paint it all green, no one will ever know. Maybe, yeah. It's always a workaround. Anyway, get some gear over here. Okay, I have a little problem. Must have measured something not correct, because the far corner one is on and the jack's out, and this one's got about a 4.5 to 5 mil gap, and this one's got about a 3 mil gap, and it won't sort of flex to pull down, which is good and bad. So I'm going to have to do a bit of a workaround, and what I've got so far is a chunk of it's 3 mil. Actually, I think it's 3.2. What does that make it? 1/8. And I've got a piece of 5 mil. So that can go in this one as a shim, like just right there. And I can weld that on. And this one, I'll just put the jack, like it goes in there, but I'll just put the jack under and just lift it a fly poo, and then tap it into place and weld it in. So then it's as solid as. So I'll get into that, and then we can do some welding on it. There we go. Looks like it all blends in and it's secure with my dodgy concreting. Yeah, I think I'll just fill that in with a bit of mortar or something and it'll look a bit more legit. But it's green for the minute and it sort of hides in, except for the purple on that side. But anyway, the banana palms cover that. So let's move on to something else. Job's done on that one. I'm under the containers here and I've got a bit of a, not a problem, but well, it's kind of a problem. The rain comes down between these two containers and it makes like bog hole everywhere. This is sort of just starting to dry out mud. I've pushed a big heap of it over there and we've still got some over here. But what I'm going to try and do is use this strapping, it's builder's strapping, and I'm going to put this gutter. It's just a 6 metre length of gutter, and I'm thinking if I put it from there to as far as 6 metres goes, it looks like it might just end up sort of right where the drain sort of goes out the side anyway. So I was just trying to keep all of this area as dry as I can underneath. So I'm going to give it a shot by just screwing it up there, like screw one side, put the gutter there and put the strap on the other side, screw it there. As long as it's got a bit of a fall down to this end, I should be right. What I can do a bit later on is get another piece, doesn't have to be 6 meters long, even if it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 meters long. I can join it onto this one, silicone it up and everything, and then put a dropper in it, you know, like a normal gutter dropper, and then put it into the pipe over there, you know, where the one that goes under the container, it's a bit hard to see, the big one that goes out that way. So I might, that might be the end result, but at the moment, just to get rid of some mud, or to reduce the mud, I might just try and gutter it. The other side of this gusset, the water just seems to run down the big gusset, like instead of going through like there, coming out through there, it just seems to run down and then goes into into the big channel that I've put there. So I kind of need to drill a couple of holes in that as well. So I'll get to that in a minute, but first I'll see if I can hang this gutter. I'll use the excavator for a foothold and go from there. Anyway, I'll get into that. I'd have to say that's a success. A freaking roaring success. Except that, you know, we've got so much rain it doesn't matter about that little piece in the middle. Anyway, let's get back into something else. Little wins, I'll take that. Okay, today's job is clear a bunch of this stuff in the front of the doorway here so I can start working out how I'm going to do this roll door. Now the roll door is just sitting over there and under the hedge, and it's been there for a while, so I want to mow where it is, so you'll do one thing before you do another thing. So we're going to clear all, there's timber trusses there which are going to be used in a carport down below there later. So I'll get rid of all this stuff out of the way and then I can get this roll door in. So it'll be like magic, it'll just be disappeared. The other thing I've got a bit of an issue with that it could be a bit of a problem is these rails, like, and they got the little tab at the top so the roll door doesn't come out of the track. Anyway, they're only 2300 up to that track to the bottom. Now it's not going to be so much a problem on this side because of the slant of the concrete. So like it'll probably be 2300 on that side and I could put the tractor in there, that's no trouble. But the digger on this side, I was under the impression that it's 2400. It's got little lifting tabs on the top, so I either need to add 100mm, which if you think about it, because I'm going to have to put a wedge on the bottom there, a wider thing at the bottom, and taper it up because of the slope of the concrete, because you have the roll door level, and the actual sheet metal has to be a bit longer. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I brought the digger up here, and we'll just pop the tape measure up the top and work out exactly how high it is. I was always under the impression it's 2400. I think that's what it even says on the specs. So I'll stick the tape measure up there and we'll have a bit of a look. Well, I think I'm in luck. We're up to 2300 to the top of the roof, or just under 2300. The only thing is these little tabs. Come on, focus. So if I just cut these tabs off, which I don't need, I'm pretty sure. So I don't need these little tabs, so I think I might just cut them off. Then 2300, it wouldn't matter which side of the what's I'm on. So anyway, that's what we'll go with. 2300. I'm happy with that. It's going to be tight though. But anyway, let's get into that. Whew, there we go. Got that out. And I made it nice and tight. Anyway, I can use those bits of threaded rod and I can use those holes because they go right through the what do you call it? Not the rafters, the bearers, whatever you call them. Anyway, they go right through them. And now I'll be able to put something else there, steel. Yeah, instead of wood, put some steel in. I'll put a piece all the way from the ground, all the way to that top beam, and then I can start hanging the stuff like a roll door. Anyway, let's get into that. I'll find something and we'll put it there. So there we go. Nice big chunk of 75 by 75 RHS, and I've put a couple of holes in it and it goes right through the same spot. So what I'm going to do is cut it off with a grinder and just weld this end up so it's nice and flush, and then I can just do the nuts up from the other side. Same with that, and I'll just put a little weld up there, and we've got ourselves a support post for this side. Now I just got to work out what I'm doing over here. What I might do is just bridge something straight across and then just drop a post at the right sort of length, if you know what I mean. And then we should be right. So I'll find a bit of something to go across there, because a bit of Z-bar there, a bit of channel there. We should be right, and we'll be away. Anyway, I'll get into that. Bit sketchy, but we're up there. Now I gotta say, I really don't like installing roll doors, but in saying that, it's a challenge. Is that the right word? So I've kind of got it hanging there. I just got to do that couple little brackets, see that little black bracket on the ground there. So once I get that mounted on a pole, the other side is virtually done. And I should be right. Then I've got to work out what sort of a taper I've got to make for the bottom. Anyway, so I'll go to the hardware, get a couple of U-bolts, because for some reason this didn't come with it. Anyway, I'll go and do that, and we'll make a post. Anyway, I'll get into that. Okay, bit of an update, and I've put that one up across. Now I've put a post in all the way down with a couple of holes for anchors. And I've put a bit of flat bar on the side there to hold the angle brackety thing, to hold the door up. So like, there's 100 brackets, not many worlds. It's a bit scary, and it keeps bloody raining, and like windy rain, really bad. So I'm just trying to fit it in between. It's looking relatively level, or pretty level. I'll put the spirit level on that shaft, and then it's level. Anyway, it looks pretty good, and I've had to space out that bracket because I do have a motorised unit, but I don't know if I'm going to be using it or not, so I'm just allowing an extra 70mm for it. And what else am I doing? I'm trying to get this track on. So this track is where the Watsy runs in. So the reason I haven't welded those and I've only clamped it is because I might have to bring it this way a bit so it fits in the track. I'm pretty sure I will. So I've just got to clamp this together and put a couple of tack welds on it to hold it in place before I get too excited. And then, yeah, go from there. So there's a bit of mucking around still, but gotta say, I'm not excited about doing roll doors. But anyway, I'm getting there slowly, taking me a couple of days. I will keep struggling and update you when I've got something to show you. Okay, bit of an update. Got the roller door all tensioned up so it'll go up and down without any issues. If I can reach it. So it'll sort of stay there all by itself, which is nice. And I can push it up one-handed. And it'll stay at the top, which is good. You saw me, I got the little lock mechanism thing going on there with the one on the floor. So it just flips up and latches over, see the little hook underneath there. And I'll put the padlock through the hole. So that worked out really nice. And I've got the door all hung, which is good. It's a bit of an ornate sort of door, a bit fancy for this project. I've popped a header in there. Actually, what I was planning to do was got the lock and everything all sort of worked out. Got a bit of a hole on the side there. What I'm planning to do is put a backing board against this. That's what all these little triangles are for, so I can put a screw all the way in, and where it doesn't come through this side, so you can't see that there's a screw there. From this side, you won't be able to see it. So I think that looks, it's going to look really nice. Anyway, so the hinges are all welded on, headers in. It's actually lockable now, but you can sort of see straight through there. I don't like that. So I've got a bit of board here, a bit more leftover form ply. And the only thing is it's got a couple of holes in it, like every one of these pieces. I've got 4 or 5 pieces the right width, and it's got a hole in it. I guess that's what you do with form ply, you use it when you need it. But anyway, so I've left myself enough room here for the form ply, so then when I just push the door out, it's not going to be in the way, kind of thing, you know. So I can sit it on the back here, screw it on, one of those little triangle-y bits, got it on the top corner. Kind of looks like they're meant to be there, actually. I surprise myself sometimes. Anyway, I will try and work out how I'm going to fill that hole. It might just be another piece of form ply somehow. I'll have a look at that, see where I'm going. Anyway, so that's done. I'll need to put something across the top. I don't know whether I'll put more iron. I don't really have a lot of that. I've got a couple of bits, but even if I cut it into short bits, I don't think I'll have enough. I'll have to ponder on that. Like, that's a last minute thing. You can't even get, like, there's no room on the other side of it because it's so close to that beam. Even when you roll it down, hang on, I'll roll it down if I can reach it. Oh, can I reach it? Even when it's all rolled down, there's no real room. You can't climb through there, so it's not really an issue. And that's why I think they partially do it. But anyway, I'll just block that hole off first and cover the back of this. And then that side is lockable. I'm not worried about the gap under the bottom at the moment. Like, you can't climb under there, so you'd want to be pretty good. But I do want to do something with this gap, so I don't quite know what yet. It's a nice breeze that comes through there most of the day, and like the other parts underneath are all open, so little animals and rodents and snakes do wander in as they want to. So if I completely block this off, it's not going to make any difference. Like, I mean, I've got these gaps over here. It's more about keeping humans out. It's a lovely morning, and cicadas are just out in force now. They're starting to go a bit nuts. You can hear them off in the background. So I'll get a bit of stuff done and come back to you when I've got a bit of an update. Yeah, I had a comment the other day in the last video, the container build video, that it was actually not a complaint, it was I think it was taking the piss. Anyway, the guy was saying that all that spray painting I did, let's see that lovely green there, and what I've just done, he was going on about no mask or anything. And I just want to make it clear that this is house paint and we're out in the open, and it's not fumey, it's water based. So just so you know, I'm okay. Thanks for your thoughts. Anyway, back to the program. You know that hole I was telling you about? Jim fixed. Doesn't that look pretty smart? I'm pretty chuffed with that. Shame I don't have a fancy door, it's just all dirty. Anyway, I'll roll it down, see how she looks. So what do you think? A little bit different, isn't it? Better than the gunge over there. Anyway, I'll come back to you when I've done the whole door. And for you it's only a couple of seconds, for me it's probably an hour or so. Anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, so there we go, all cleaned up. I got that stain off with a bit of thinners. That big nasty stain that was over there, it all come up pretty good. I think that's nearly a wrap for so hang on, there's one more thing I need to do. Yeah, so in the last video I asked what to do with the cutouts of the windows, and I had a few good ideas like garden beds and retaining wall, like walls, and another one was make a spa. Good idea, yeah. But 80% of the comments said make an awning off the back windows on the end of these containers. So in the next video, that's what I'm planning to do. I've got a couple of really good ideas on how to lay it out, so it'll be nice and spicy. Be putting some awnings up. So that's in the next video, and along with some work on the 20-foot container. There's a heap of work on the roof. Like a third of it's got to be replaced, and a heap of work on the floor and shelving and all sorts of stuff like that. So, and also possibly a carport down the bottom there to make the undercover area just much larger. So I'm going to work on all that in the next video. So if you haven't already, guys, consider subscribing. There's plenty more of this stuff coming along with a lot of other workshop stuff. Actually, if you want a full tour of the whole workshop facility storage area, just leave a comment below and I can work out that video. And anyway, so thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.